Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Nicholas Boso here in our FOX10 Gulf Stream Center, where we're going to get right to it here because we do have a lot to talk about here on our 2 p.m. live. We are live streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as on our FOX10 Gulf Stream, which is, of course, the Roku Apple TV app that is available that you can get to watch these live streams as well. If you want to interact with the live stream at all, I encourage you to do so. You can head to Facebook and actually comment there, and I'll be able to see those comments. I have a secondary screen that I can see those on. So we're starting with the tropics. As you can clearly see, we've had Alberto already, and the tropics are getting active. The latest 1 p.m. Central Time update from the National Hurricane Center has a lot on the board. And we have a couple areas that have, or one area I should say, that has a pretty significant chance of development, near certain, around 100% there. So to break these down, we have three areas of interest. One of them is designated as Invest 94L. That's that little yellow X you see there. That is going to track across the Yucatan Peninsula and the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Development chances are generally low with this one. It's not in the most favorable environment. However, 94L, which right now currently located in the Western Caribbean, crossing the Yucatan into the southwestern Gulf, will likely go into Mexico and produce heavy rain along that corridor. That is going to be the main impact from that storm. That's pretty much the deal with that one. Then we have Invest 95. That is the more significant one. That's the one with the 100% chance, near 100% chance of developing. It's likely that that storm will be designated as a depression or storm later today, if not very, very soon. So that one's going to move into the Caribbean eventually, and that is going to be one to watch. It has the potential to strengthen. It's in a more favorable environment. Then there's also one on its tail that we will be watching. That one has a 30% chance of development in the next 7 days. How unusual is it to see development like this at this time of year? Well, let's understand that right now, yes, everything is pretty active because we have an unusually favorable environment way out there in the Atlantic. It's not typically this favorable. Typically, we're dealing with lots of Saharan dust. We are dealing with Saharan dust right now. So that's going to be something that those storms have to fight, but it is not anything super significant. And then we are also dealing with a little bit of wind shear, but there's less wind shear out there than what we would typically see. I have this pulled up. This is typically where we see tropical tracks and tropical systems in July, those blue areas and then those green areas. And you can see that the Lesser Antilles are highlighted there. I'll highlight that out. It's a development area that we sometimes see more towards late July, but it is something that we see. So it is interesting to see this at the end of June. For sure. And the sea surface temperatures are very warm. Here they are. This thing's going to be moving into the Caribbean, where we have water temperatures at around 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just healthy for a tropical system to take advantage of. The depth of the water is also rather significant. Anywhere you see that kind of greenish yellow, well, the greenish color, yeah, there's enough deep water there, but the yellow color, that's significant. Deep water there, deep, warm water that the storm can take advantage of. So the environment is there. The background environment is there for potential development as 95L moves across the Caribbean. But first, let's talk about 94L. You can see closest to the Yucatan Peninsula now, very weak, kind of broad low pressure system, messy thunderstorms. We'll see if it consolidates in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, but it's fighting some things right now. So once again, the main impact with this system will be heavy rain. Belize, all the way up to Cozumel, they're going to be dealing with heavy rains there. All the way across the Yucatan Peninsula and into coastal Mexico there. The current pattern does not suggest that this thing will move north. Right now, I'll show you this in a little bit. We have a ridge of high pressure in place. There's no way this thing moves north. So pretty confident in this track that it moves across the Yucatan this weekend. And in the back half of the weekend, we'll be watching it emerge into the Gulf of Mexico. That is where it has a small chance to develop. It could be a depression. It could be a storm. Once again, regardless of development, lots of rain for Mexico. Let's talk about the big one in the room. This is Invest 95L, near certain chance of development, looking rather healthy on satellite. In fact, in the last few frames, this is kind of an interesting, I'll take it full so y'all can see this. in the last few frames, you can actually see a little bubble of some of these darker colors in the middle there. In fact, it goes white for a second on that satellite. That is some strong thunderstorms developing kind of near the center of this thing. That X is a little bit removed of where the center is currently. But still, definitely this thing could become a tropical depression, a tropical storm, if it's not already. It's pretty close to that state at this time. Let's zoom into it on our visible satellite. And we're starting to lose sunlight there, but you can clearly see what we have here. We have some wind out of the south here on the eastern side. You can see that we have wind at the surface out of the east. You can see kind of under those upper level clouds, that northerly wind. And then you can just barely see that westerly wind there. So we have a low level circulation. What I'm looking at there are the clouds that are under those upper level clouds. So those thin wispy clouds, I'm not looking at those right now. I'm actually looking at the ones under it. The ones that are moving a little bit faster. Tells me where that general circulation is. And the interesting thing is now we have thunderstorms that are bubbling right around where that center could be. So this is definitely getting its act together. There is absolutely no question about that. So the question becomes, where does it go and what are the impacts? So I'm talking about impacts very far out here, 1,400 miles away from the Windward Islands. So this is far. But it is notable, and interests in the Windward Islands will be paying very close attention to this. This is very far away from the United States at this time. So here's Invest 95L, and you can see that the forecast model is pretty confident in taking this into the Windward Islands. So we could see tropical storm watches, maybe even hurricane watches issued there as soon as tonight. In fact, I'm actually, if you bear with me for 1 second, I'm actually going to check, see if there's any updates that I need to note. I do not see anything immediately. This is a rather quickly evolving situation with this system. And in fact, I think we do have an update. So let's look at that real quick. Doing this in live time right now. And it looks like we have the update for Tropical Depression 2 maybe. Bear with me for 1 second. I'm looking at the information. Either way, this thing is pretty much at depression. Yes, there we go. So here's the official word. Advisories for Tropical Depression 2 will be initiated at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central. There you go. That is the news right here. And this was as of just a few minutes ago, pretty much right as we started this. So, and actually I kind of noticed this. So now we're going to have Tropical Depression 2 in the Atlantic. So happening right now here on our 2 p.m. live. I told you this was an active situation. Either way, let's keep talking about this. What will be Tropical Depression 2 moves into the Windward Islands here. You can see how consolidated the tracks are. I mean, this is good consensus. This is what we want to see. The timing for this, the end of this weekend, early next week as it gets into the Caribbean. By Monday and Tuesday, we're south of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola. And of course, once we get this tropical depression advisory at 4 p.m. Central, we'll get a track, an official track. But I can go ahead and tell you the track is going to look something like that. I mean, this is a pretty confident in the next few days here what the track is. Now, beyond this, beyond, say, Monday, Tuesday, we do start to see some spread here in the tracks. You can see kind of how wide the spread gets. So understand that beyond that time frame, there's going to be a couple questions. We do have an understanding of the overall background environment behind this thing. We do know that we have a ridge of high pressure over the Atlantic and a ridge of high pressure pretty much over us here on the central Gulf Coast. So, long story short, it looks like this thing could keep going west. However, could there be a weakness that develops in that high pressure system? It is a possibility. So I want to show here, this is the upper level pattern over the next few days. Reminder that our system is located way out there. This is this weekend. We have this big orange area. This is a big upper level ridge. Anything tries to move north, it's just not. It's a big, powerful upper level ridge. It's a blocking system. However, end of this weekend, we do notice a little bit of a weakness that develops here, at least according to the GFS forecast model. Behind the banner here, you actually have a trough that develops, maybe creates a little bit of a weakness. But right now, that is not picking this thing up there. But advancing this forward, you can see that a ridge somewhat stays in place over the central Gulf Coast in the southeastern United States. So there's some variability. Could we see a little lift to the north and maybe getting towards the greater Antilles in Cuba? That's possible with this system. Or it keeps tracking west. We will get more confidence in this forecast in the next few days. I encourage you just kind of wait and see if you are on the Gulf Coast, if you're in South Florida, because yeah, we're going to want to keep our eyes on this, but it's very far out. And we have a long way to go there. So that's the situation with what it will soon be Tropical Depression 2 in the Atlantic. And of course, that information came out just now that we will have the advisories on Tropical Depression 2. Quick reminder, I like to show this a lot. It's forecast models. Over time, they get less accurate. And once we get beyond that 5-day to 7-day range, our accuracy starts to drop. And that's just how the forecast models are. So you're going to see on social media people sharing these long-range models, pretty intense, scary-looking storms that are way in the Western Caribbean there. Pay attention to how far out they are. Pay attention to the timestamps on the models. And if there's no timestamp, be careful. Most meteorologists will put the timestamp on there so you can get the understanding of when the model is valid for. If you don't see one, be careful what you see as always. Beyond a week, forecast models can get a little bit crazy. All right, switching gears now. Let's focus on our local weather. Here's the good news. Over the next 7 days across the United States, there's no tropical impacts expected, and that's a good thing. We have some dry air aloft right now, but that is not stopping the showers and thunderstorms from developing, much like it did yesterday. We have quite a few showers. We had a little bit of a trough that was over our area. Now that is kind of closed off. We just have a weakness that is associated with some dry air there. And you kind of see that darker black color. That's where the dry area is. But you see all these bubbles of white. That is the thunderstorms that are developing across the southeast right now. It's actually a pretty impressive picture on our satellite. You can see all these little puffy cumulus clouds and then the development of the green. Of course, the radar picking up that. Showers and thunderstorms that are there. Zooming into our local area, you can see over the past little bit we have had an increase, a quick increase in showers and thunderstorms. Most of this north of Interstate 10. This is because of the sea breeze. That sea breeze blows inland. We get storms that fire along that sea breeze. And then inland, it's just kind of a show of wherever the collisions of the boundaries happen. A lot of these thunderstorms, they drop out cool air, and then it collides with another boundary dropping cool air, and we get like a bubbling effect. It's like a boiling pot, essentially. So that's what we see every single summertime afternoon. This is the perfect setup for it, and we are getting plenty of showers and thunderstorms around out there at this time. You can see here all of our live cameras. Orange Beach looking great. You're all on the coast. The sea breeze is already pushed up. Diarrhea, Mississippi, same thing, almost sunny skies. Mobile, we have seen improvement. That is because we had a thunderstorm earlier, and now it's kind of sucked the energy out of our atmosphere. You can see some clouds off in the distance from our Navigator Credit Union camera. Here's Daphne. You can see 79 degrees. That's not bad. That's because of the cooling shower that we had earlier. Mobile is sitting at 86, so still hot and humid, but we did have a rain shower earlier. Our live radar does show all those showers inland. We'll take a brief tour. By the way, if you're watching on Facebook and you're getting rain, please let me know. I still have the Facebook chat pulled up here. Taking a tour of where it's raining, what's happening. Let's go to Clark County. We'll start off here. Places like Jackson, Grove Hill, along Highway 84 here, dealing with some rain, also along 43. Here's Grove Hill in the center of your screen. Suggsville, slight rain right now, same thing for Zimco. These are kind of downpours, so some light rain in spots, those kind of big raindrops. If you're driving along, you get the big raindrops. Then you get the heavy downpour. That's kind of in the yellows and reds that we're seeing there. Along Alabama 69, just to the west there, a little bit of a heavier shower, kind of on the border of Clark County and Washington County there. To the northeast of Yarbough, a little heavier downpour. North of Wagerville, north of the bend in 43 there, we have one heavier downpour. Along 43 moving south, we are in Washington County, McIntosh, a little bit of rain. A lot of this is pretty slow moving. I'll put this into motion over the last hour real quick and you can see there's not much. They just kind of bubble up and fall apart, and that is how these thunderstorms go. Not seeing too much thunder with them now. Going into Mobile County, Citronelle, some heavy downpours happening right now. And Marie, this is beneficial rain. Cameron, it prevents us from getting too hot. That is exactly true, and a lot of us appreciate when these showers and thunderstorms happen. Here's the thing, though. So Mobile now, nothing. You have absolutely nothing. And that's a problem because it's starting to get a little bit warmer. Whenever you get the showers too early, it becomes a problem. You want them like right around 2 p.m., around now, because that's the heating of the day, and that kicks everything off, and you have a nicer evening ahead. Versus us in Mobile, we just got the shower at pretty much noon. It was a really early shower, developed right over us here in Mobile, and that just dumped on us, and now it's super muggy outside. That's just how it is, and that is how it is on the Gulf Coast. We just deal with it. George County, Greene County, let's check in. Leakesville, Lucedale, near Bendale, we have one heavier downpour. Lucedale, maybe some light rain there, north of Leakesville as well. Along Highway 57 there, just a couple showers east and west. Along Highway 63 as well. So you'd see that's Jackson, George, and Greene counties here in Mississippi. Jackson's almost dry. Georgia and Greene County, you have a few showers that are going on. Baldwin County is pretty much dry. That's good, except unless you want the rain. And let's go to Santa Rosa County, where we do have some showers north of I-10, north of 98. This is Munson, all the way down along the line from Munson to Allentown, Highway 87 to Milton, places like Baker, Florida, kind of near there, getting some rain there. 184A, the highway popping up on the map. Those are some of the places that are getting the rain right now. I have another thing to show you real quick. So, of course, we have rain going on out there. Take a look at this, though. So I've zoomed into Interstate 10. I'm going to put this into motion. And this is weird. It looks like it is raining only on I-10. You can see along this line here. I'll circle it. There's just this little bit of what looks like rain. Well, that is a false return. Not a false return, I should say. That's a non-meteorological return. It's not raining there. We saw our Daphne camera. In fact, our Daphne camera is looking straight at this. This is an interesting phenomenon. Right now what's happening, or what has happened earlier, is the radar beam from Mobile Regional Airport. I'll zoom out to show you where that is. So we're on I-10, right? Mobile Regional Airport over here. That's where the circle is. That's where that little donut hole is. The radar beam shoots out, and it is actually recognizing and hitting the traffic on the Bayway. It's actually getting bent down. There's a little bit of a temperature inversion, what we call it, the shift in temperature with height. That's actually bending the radar beam down, and we're actually able to see the people driving on the Bayway. And if I pause this, I can actually kind of get an idea of how fast people were driving. So let's look at that. Velocity. This is going to be funny. So 56, 48, 57, about highway speeds, maybe a little bit less if I switch my time here. See if we can get some brighter colors in here. I checked it one time on my phone, and it was rather crazy. I saw some pretty high numbers. 58, 70, 53. Isn't that cool that the radar can pick up the speed of the vehicles because it's detecting what's hitting the beam because of the ducting that it's called. That's the meteorological term. The radar beam is getting bent down. Just something cool that happened. I thought it was really interesting. Somebody pointed it out to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's happening. That's just a really cool, really cool thing that happened on radar today. All right, let's get out of that. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening the rest of this evening, and then we're going to get a long-range forecast. Showers are sticking around. If you're along the coast, you're mainly dry through the evening hours. Highway 84 corridor, you can have showers as late as 9, 10 p.m. And then continuing on here, what is this? Some more showers come in overnight. Fairhope last night got around 4.5 inches of rain from one of these showers. 4.5 inches of rain. So we could see another downpour or two overnight tonight. Do not be surprised. I come in early tomorrow morning, we'll probably still have some showers on radar there. Taking a look at some of the video that we got sent in yesterday. I'll put this full screen so y'all can see this. This was sent in by Jeff. This was in Destin. You can see in the distance there, that is a rain shaft. Really cool. You can kind of see the rain spreading out near the surface there, near the water. That's all rain falling from thunder showers. This is a typical summertime evening thing that we see. How about the lightning? Yesterday, we had plenty of lightning out there. As you can see, this is Shane Slocum. He always sends in great drone video. I'd be terrified to put a drone up in a lightning storm, but it's worth it because this video is so good. You can see also the rain shaft there. That's that grayness and plenty of lightning strikes. Just cool stuff to see there. All that sent in by Shane, of course. Some branching of the lightning, too. That's cool. Bob Grip, familiar face on Fox 10, of course. Look at the rain shafts over Mobile Bay. That's that dark grayness once again. So you have this big, tall thunderstorm cloud, and then the heavy rain falling under it. Really cool to see that. That's, of course, at the Fairhope Pier. Always a good place to watch storms, the Fairhope Pier. And look at this. This is in Gulf Shores. Craig set this in. In the distance, you can see one of those tall, tall thunderstorms reaching the top of the weather-producing atmosphere. A cool thing to see there. All right, let's keep going. Cameron, you said you sent a picture of a sunset at Sam's Club. I'm actually going to look for that. I might not be able to pull it in at this second. I might show it at the 3 p.m. Let me look at that. But yeah. We get these photos in all the time, and I'll tell you, I'm going to put myself back on camera here. I'll tell you, when you pull in these photos, it's a little bit of a process for us to get the photos into the system. There it is. Ooh, that's cool because it has the haze. I will go ahead and save that one. I'll put that one in at the 3 p.m. show, but I will definitely show that, Cameron. Thank you for pointing that out to me. It's in our little submission system. We have a website that we use that gets us those. All right, continuing on here. Remember, you can send in those photos. FOX10 Weather App as always. Let's keep going. Now we're talking weekend forecast. So long-range forecast models, or forecast models through the weekend, excuse me, are showing that a similar story. We're going to have lots of showers and thunderstorms that develop in the afternoon. Just be ready for that. Have an umbrella this weekend. Have an alternative plan if you have afternoon plans. Be sure to just kind of do the summertime stuff. You know how this works. We get thunderstorms that develop around 2 p.m. They go, they develop, they stick around through the evening, then they're done. So just have that alternate plan. It will be hot and humid, 91, 93 degrees. Here's Futurecast through that, and I'm just going to kind of let it go. So there's the rest of the day on Friday. Here's Saturday. There's those morning showers. Then it gets rather active there in the afternoon, quite a little blow up. And then even to Sunday morning, we could have some showers there. So that's that. Then we go to the long-range forecast, and we talk about 4th of July. 4th of July is not on Friday, is it? 4th of July is on Thursday, so I'm going to fix that. But long story short, you see Thursday, 30% chance of rain. Now that's better, isn't it? Looks like some of the forecast models have backed off on the rain chance for 4th of July. That would be a good thing. That's something we want to see. So hopeful for that. But we'll, of course, keep you updated. That forecast is going to alter a little bit. It's going to be changed. So just keep that in mind. Let me get the correct 4th of July thing on there. If this will load. And it should say now, 4th of July is on Thursday. There we go. So once again, that's the forecast over the next 7 days. 30% chance of rain on 4th of July. We're going to be looking forward to that forecast. We're going to have more information on it, of course, over the next few days as you make your plans. But really the pattern over the next 7 days is typical summertime stuff, and that is what we are expecting. All right, it is 2:45, and I'm going to start wrapping this thing up here. I'm going to quickly show you the 10-day outlook and hope the holiday is not on the wrong day there. Yes, they're just all on the wrong days. So I'm going to take those off. These are always, the 2 p.m. live is always the first time I show the afternoon outlooks. So it always happens that they're on the incorrect days. But either way, you get the idea. Long-range forecast, there's not much changes here. You had those scattered showers and thunderstorms around all the way through the 10-day outlook, and that is the summertime pattern that we're in. Always, we thank you for joining us for our 2 p.m. live. I've got to get ready for the 3 o'clock show here. We have some pretty interesting things to show. I have more viewer photos that we will be showing there at the 3 o'clock. So if you want to send any more photos in, please do so. But for now, thank you for joining us here on our 2 p.m. live as always. Once again, thank you for joining.